Martin from the Philippines. We're here in Real Talk Lifeline. So, in this episode, this is going to be a sharing on the money series and work. And why am I doing this today, August 1, 2025? I felt inspired. I'll be sharing my screen very quickly. This morning, what happened was there was this session over here. Here we go. Let me see. Do I have it? Okay, pardon. Let me fix that up for you guys watching the live or the replay. So this one, share this one. So this is my profile. This morning, earlier today, there was this session, LUAP. So that's the Life Underwriters Association of the Philippines. Background is I've been doing this work for the past decade, since November 2014. The LUAP or LUAP is an association wherein agents, advisors from every company, doesn't have to be a specific one. You can join the association and learn together. So in this morning's episode or Mojo, effective communication and storytelling, the two guest speakers were Miss Rebecca Bustamante. So she was a maid, meaning household help, yaya, and then she turned into a success. So from maid to maid. And her story is very powerful. She now owns properties in Toronto, Canada, and very emotional. One of her biggest challenges was she had a brain tumor, and then she thought she only had a few months to live. So she overcame a lot of challenges, and she still does not think she is a success yet, but she has achieved so much and she continues to inspire a lot of people. The other speaker was Miss Angela Gao Flores. So, one of my mentors. She's been in the industry for 13 years, 13-time qualifying and Life MDRT $1 million roundtable member. She did 11 times court of the table, 2 times top of the table. So, why I consider her a mentor, I jokingly call her godmother because she's like the closest representation of God in human form to me. I had no idea. So back then, this was 2015 or 16. I attended this event in AIM, Asian Institute of Management in Makati. And then there was this learning session. Back then, I think it was paid. Like you just pay 500 or an amount. And then she was in the registration table. Little did I know that she was actually a past LUAP president, but she was serving in the front lines. So, one thing she taught me was to always learn. If you're not selling or working, then learn. Another thing she taught me is to volunteer, and she lives by example. This is why I'm doing this session now. So, it was very, energizing, inspiring this morning. So this is me stopping the sharing, going back. This is my version of me sharing back to you. So what am I going to do? So an advisor since 2014. I took my certified wealth planner course in 2017. Moving forward, I'll be sharing with you some best practices over the years, and this is one of the best practice sharings I can share with integrity, and I will share my screen with you over here. Okay, so as I open up, people watching the live, even better, you can ask questions in real time. People on the replay, you can just comment down below. Normally, I would do this in a private session, meaning with a branch, with an agency, with a company, and then you can ask questions from there. So I will share my screen over here. Comment down below if you do see it. I'll just adjust over here. I'm going into full screen. There we go. So let's begin. So the title of this is How to Close 15M, that's 15 million pesos, even when the market is down. So context here is this is a high net worth client, more an investment type of product. So whatever your company is, as a life insurance agent, financial advisor, consultant, wealth planner, try to get the lessons that apply that you can use. So that's the tip. So this happened back in December 2016. It was a part of my best practices sharing for the branch. So, quick intro, this is my background as a financial consultant. People watching this, if you're a financial advisor, agent, life insurance, you get it. This is the work we do. And I entered November 2014. So in 2016, this was the first year where my goal was to be $1 million round table. So I had a big challenge because I only had four case count for the entire year. And this was already halfway through the year moving forward. Yet I was lacking a lot of production to go FYP, first year premium, like that. If you are a client or just some random person watching, don't worry. I believe you'll still be able to get something good from this. Understanding money, investments, something new that you could use. So over here, what you see, these numbers represent the stock market, the PSEI, Philippine Stock Exchange Index. So if you Google search that PSEI index, this was in 2016, so around December time. And the level was at about 6,800, mid 6,000. Now, it's the year 2025 now, almost a decade later. And right now, the stock market is still down, as you could see. It's like 6,300 level, closing as of August 1, 2025. So, all I'm saying is sometimes you'll have clients who keep saying this to you. It's not looking good. I don't like the market now. So, staying on the sidelines. How many of you can relate? So, comment down below if you're an advisor, a life insurance agent, a consultant, wealth planner, and you have gotten replies, messages from clients like this. I don't like the market now. The market is down. Hashtag relate. Comment down below, people watching the live or the replay, if you can relate. So, what do we do if the market is down? Now, some people might say, from either, you're a wise guy, or better, from years of experience. When the market is down, that's actually the best time to come in. Now, clients don't do that. Human behavior doesn't do that. So when the market crashes, it's down. Normally, fear kicks in, and you get a lot of messages like this. So, this is why I'm sharing this with you. So, what are the challenges I faced? Market down, when you see red, market crashing, this is how people emotionally react. Now, again, if you've been in the industry for more than a decade, 2 decades, quarter century or more, and whenever there's a crash, so recently the COVID pandemic, that was 2020, or if you were in a time earlier than I did, earlier than 2014, so that was 2008, the global financial crisis, you know that people who invested right when the crash happened, so COVID, March 15, March 16, you know, that half end March when the market crashed by so much, falling knife, that's actually the best time to invest. Of course, you can't predict, you can't pick bottoms, but the challenge here is, how do we handle our clients? So you're one of the chosen few if you understand how to be a healthy contrarian. So market down. Next challenge for all you advisors out there, financial documents. Don't worry, I got you covered. So I'll share what worked for me. And of course, time. When you're December, ending of the month, we know this. After December 31, the clock and all our numbers reset back to zero. So our production, everything goes back to zero. So if you are an agent, an advisor, you understand this in sales. So how did I do it? So this one was a major breakthrough and nuance that I learned. And I went through a lot of pain to learn this one. So as you see in the slide over here, so just double checking on you guys over here, what do you see? These funds, right? So in your company, it may differ, but a lot of it may look similar. A bond fund over here, bond fund. In between, we have balanced funds. So what are those? Balanced funds, all it means is a combination of bonds and equity. So managed fund or growth fund. Equity fund, let's say that's 100% equity, that's stocks, equities. And then sometimes you have a mix, so another balanced fund or another type of fund. So what I was trained was back in 2014, 2015, 2016, bond funds are the most conservative, the way I was trained. Now, people watching the live or the replay, advisors especially, is it possible for a bond fund to go negative? Meaning, if you invested in a bond fund, not a bond directly, a bond fund, is it possible that your investment, let's say a million pesos, can go below a million pesos? So, spoiler alert, I learned this the hard way. The answer is yes. Because normally when they say conservative, conservative, they think it can't go negative bonds. It can. So I had a client or a colleague, and her client, her 1 million, the client's 1 million went down to like 700,000 pesos level. So it can actually go down significantly. Now, how did I learn this? The market was down. So this client, this prospect, I said, Sir, uh, if the market is down, then why don't we go in bond funds at the moment? So what I didn't know was the client had knowledge and experience with bond traders. And this was the language. Like the benchmark that they use for bonds is the yield curve. So it's like when the yield curve inverses, the bonds can go negative. So if you're hearing this and you feel like, what the fuck is this? Like alien language, like that. Of course, you don't say that in front of the client, but that's how I felt. And it was true. So I got grilled, right in front of that client. I got schooled. So I didn't know bond funds can go negative. So the basic English of that is when interest rates, inflation is very high, and then it starts going down, I believe that's a good thing. Bond funds can go positive. It's inversely related. So if interest rates are low, let's say 1%, and then inflation is about to go up to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6%, your bond fund inversely can go negative. So that's how the 1 million can become 700,000, like that. So long story short, what did I have to learn for this? How did I do it? I had to learn what a money market fund was. So normally this is only available in single pay, one-time placements. It's not available in all product types. So I had to learn what this was. And then the next step I learned, I'm jumping ahead, is I had to learn what a fund switch was. Now I'll give a very nuanced tip also in the very end in the Q&A part. If someone is watching, please comment to remind me. But the fund switch, big reminder, since we're not allowed to give investment advice technically investment advice technically to the client, it has to come from the client. So the client has to know what he or she is doing, and then the decision has to come from the client. If not, we're in a lot of trouble. I believe in the US you can even go to jail. So the fund switching means you enter a certain fund, let's say money market fund. When the market crashes further or is down, and your money market fund maintained or gained, you can switch to an equity fund. And then when the equity fund goes up higher, you could realize your gains or do another switch before it crashes. So that's what it is: money market fund and then fund switch. So when you have an amount that big, 15 million, like that, as an agent, You also have financial underwriting requirements from this point. So you don't just give standard docs anymore, standard documents. They ask for extra. Sometimes the client, a lot of times, with these amounts, they're asked for ITRs, income tax returns. In my experience, a lot of clients do not like giving this. It's a big hassle. So what I learned was, since the funds one-time placement are coming from savings, I got a tip from a mentor. You'll see this later on in how I did it or my support system. So you can provide a bank statement. Now, this one might sound like common sense to some, but I'll say it anyway because the way I learned this, treat me like a blank slate. You know, common sense is not common. Tell it to me like I know nothing, right? So when the client provides a bank statement, please make sure that the amount is sufficient or more than the placement. So if they're placing in 15 million, make sure the amount has at least 15 million, 16 or more. Why? What if some client tells you, you know what, I have my bank statement from last week and it has 14.9 million in it. Pwede na to? Can I just use this na lang? I'll just deposit more, I'll add. Quick question. Yes or no? Is that allowed? So people watching the live or the replay. So you can comment down below. Spoiler alert. The answer is no. So the company will not approve that, will not accept it. So you're gonna have to go back and forth. You might get delays or decline, right? Aside from that, standard for me were PFS. That's a personal financial statement. You just list down the assets of your client. They just want to make sure that the client has enough finances to back the placement, right? They have enough net worth, they have enough money. So, depending on the source of funds, ACI is the agent's confidential information. So, the agent's confidential information is just like the internal document that the agent matches or validates with the personal financial statement. So your company may vary, but similar financial documental requirements. How else did I do it? A miracle, a combination of everything, timing requirements, handling the client, figuring it out. So what was my support? First, here, my manager. So I'll give her credit. She was guiding me through this. Now, there were a lot of questions and highly technical things that I didn't understand, which is where the person on the right comes in. So, another mentor of mine. So, I didn't understand investments on that technical a level, bond funds, bond traders, the yield curve. I didn't know bond funds could go negative. The company back then did not teach me. And, I was so embarrassed in front of that high net worth, technical client because I was wrong and I didn't know, right, any better. So I learned the hard way. Also here, so this one was a mentoring team. And if I wasn't getting answers, if you're not getting answers where you are, the lesson I learned was I was roaming around like a lost boy in Makati. I entered another office, another branch. I think this was Lazurite or Titanium. I think it was Lazurite back then. So from Alexandrite to Lazurite, I sat in, and Towie, who was my batchmate from college, from university, was mentoring four people: Gantioki, Crison Domingo, Larissa Coleman, and Robin Mendoza. So all four of them made it to MDRT. What's crazy was I sat in that mentoring team around December time, 2016. Towie gave me a tip, advice. He gave me that bank statement advice. I actually listened because of this. He was also closing a one time single pay dollar amount, and the equivalent was also around 16 or 17 million pesos, even more than the one that I was about to close. So I was like a bonus. If Toei had four MDRT mentoring team mentees that all became successful, maybe I became his fifth, because I give credit to that tip he gave me. It helped me get that policy approved. It helped me get that client, helped me get it done. Right. So thank you for that. Next, maybe if you also believe this side, less technical. So I was part of the singles encounter retreat. There was a prayer group. If you guys believe in that, if you're not religious, don't worry. I could totally relate. So just for trips, I said, hey guys, can you put this prayer intention for me? $1 million round table. So this is for 2016. And if anyone prayed for me that time, even just 1%, it worked. So next, I would journal back then. Again, this is 2016, I believe, or many years ago, 2017, from the screenshot. So I would journal at times, and there were moments that did help me. So I also get random messages. So this one, I met this person, I think in 2016 or 17, maybe 16. Yeah, I think 2016 January. It was an incentive trip to Maldives and Singapore. So I had no idea who this person was. Midway through the year, I get this message because I was lost. The crazy thing after this message was when I look at the MDRT, $1 million roundtable stoplight, she already hit her MDRT. So why am I sharing this? It felt like, who are you and why do you believe in me? Because I had no proof, no evidence. I wasn't made, I never did it, never achieved MDRT yet. Yet I got a message that was very uplifting. So another thing was this. So this message conversation was the reason why I fell in love with MDRT. And just to keep it real short, it's because they were not selfish. If you're wondering, why am I sharing this openly? Why am I doing this? It's not just achieving the impossible or something epic, something crazy, top 2%. The reason why is they also showed me how. They also cared. They also gave a shit, in my words. So they actually will also help you do it. You do have to do the work, but they'll share their secrets with you unselfishly. So that's me, end of December. In our branch, we were around six qualifying $1 million round tables, a house of MDRT back then. So that was the first time I ever qualified in 2016. And then, how many of you, I'm going to end this already, believe that happy endings don't exist? And this, because it's reality. How many of you have clients, personal policies, wherein the investment is currently negative or has been negative for so many years? That 100,000 is down to 90, 80,000. Some of them are even 66,000. How many of you had a client where their 5 million dropped to 3.5 million? So how many of you do have happy endings though, wherein your investment, your clients, their money actually gained? So I'll share you one positive to end. This is the client, the 15M, 15 million pesos, placed in December 2016. Money market fund, as I shared. So enter with a money market fund. True enough, what happened with this client when the interest rates, inflation was going up? That fund actually grew from 15 to like 16 million. Then the client did a fund switch from money market to equity fund over the years when the market was still down. Then when the market started going up, this is years after already, the client, after 5 years, so after the fifth year, so this is December 15, 2016. So after December 16, 2021, past the 5 years and one day, no more penalties, no more early surrender or withdrawal charges. The client wanted to withdraw, realize the gains, get the profit. The fund went up further to 18.4 million pesos. So it is possible. So I had to learn what a money market fund was when the market is down and a fund switch. So the client has an option. Mind you, before I end this again, because I'm going to stop the sharing, please remember this is more part of the Q&A. When the client does these moves, make sure it comes from the client. Again, I'm giving you a high discretion warning already here. Do not try to just sell to the client. Do not just try to get that commission. Do not just try to make money. Don't try to shortcut it. One thing I learned about MDRT, Million Dollar Round Table, in the US, they call it fiduciary. It's like to the highest level of trust, right? You really have to think of the best interest of the client. And how many of us who have been through it have faced clients where their investments went negative? And how did you handle it, right? Did you just walk away? Did you not take responsibility? Did you not care, right? Did you come up with excuses? So I grew up hard on myself, and this is one of the positive examples that I could share with you on how to close 15 million even when the market is down. So if you guys have any other questions, Q&A, comment down below, people watching the live or the replay. I'll answer it as much as possible. Normally when I'm sharing this with a branch, an agency, a company, this is the panel, the Q&A, where I can answer your questions for advisors, you know, life insurance agents, wealth planners. So I would share this normally, and this is my alpha test or alpha preview sharing, part of the WMC, Wealth Management Center Alumni Association, and part of the Education Committee. This is an example of a best practice sharing, and I'm starting with my own personal one. If you want to see more, or if you're an advisor, follow us, Wealth Management Center, the Alumni Association. I'd love to also learn from your best practices as well. Thank you. I love you, and I will see you next time.